Jack Nicklaus is still the measuring stick in golf. Not because people are obsessed with old records, but because when the debate gets serious, his name is usually where the conversation ends. So instead of explaining Jack through numbers alone, let's hear how the people inside the game talk about him. Here's Tiger Woods saying Jack's major record became the gold standard.
Jack has always been one of my heroes. You know, I looked up to him. I looked at his
but have
record.
you lusted for his record?
I wouldn't say lusted for his record. But I just think that was the gold standard because, you know, he had won the most majors and the second most tour events. And here he is at 18.
Now listen to Arnold Palmer. This one matters because Palmer wasn't speaking as a fan watching from the outside. He was one of the legends who had to face Jack when Jack was at his best.
Just the fact that he was so good, that he was a great player, and he had a knack for playing the game of golf and played it very, very well. And the fact that once in a while I beat him, that was something that I was very proud of. We were friends from the beginning, from the day he turned pro. And that friendship has lasted through all these years, and I'm very pleased and proud to say that I'm a friend of Jack's, and he's a friend of mine.
That clip pretty much explains the whole era. Jack could make other legends feel like they had achieved something rare whenever they got the better of him. But Jack's impact wasn't limited to trophies. Tom Watson once told a story about something Jack said to him after Watson beat him. And for Watson, that moment became a real turning point in his career.
Jack came over to me and he put his arm around my neck like this, gave me a tug like this, and he looked at me. He said, "Tom, I gave you my best shot, but it wasn't good enough." And he smiled and he said, "Congratulations, I'm really happy for you." And you know, at that point, Matt, in my career, that was probably the biggest change in my career right now. When Jack said he gave me his best shot and it wasn't good enough, I said, now maybe I've arrived and I can beat and play with the big boys.
That says a lot about Jack. He didn't need a grand speech. Sometimes one honest line from him was enough to change how another player saw himself. And if you want to understand how powerful Jack's influence was, listen to Nick Faldo. Faldo talks about watching Jack at the 1971 Masters and realizing almost instantly that this was what he wanted to do with his life.
Now, well, you know, he was my introduction and inspiration. I watched the Masters in '71 and thought, right, I want to be a golfer. Let's try golf. That's how it all started.
Now, when people talk about Jack, they usually go straight to the majors, the power, the big moments. But there's one part of his game that sometimes gets overlooked. Jack Nicklaus could really putt, and Lee Trevino doesn't dance around it. He calls Jack the greatest putter he ever saw.
I asked Jack, I said, let me ask you a question. I said, why, the way you drive it, you're the greatest putter I've ever seen. I know Bobby Locke was good, but I played with Bobby Locke. But Jack is the greatest still. At the age of 60, he's going to be 64 January 20. Still can putt the same way. The method that he has is flawless. You know, nobody's ever copied it. And it's flawless the way he does it.
Coming from Trevino, that is not a throwaway compliment. And it points to something important about Jack's greatness. He didn't win because he had one obvious weapon. He won because whenever the moment demanded something, he usually had the answer. Gary Player explains Jack's greatness in a way that makes it easy to understand. He says Jack could control his game when it mattered most.
Jack so difficult. What made him the standard was not how he hit the ball. It was when he chose to be at his best. He had an ability to control his game in the biggest moments that I have never seen matched consistently over time. You could play with him for 3 days and feel like you had him. And then on Sunday, something shifted. Not dramatically, not emotionally, just enough that suddenly every important shot went his way.
That's the Nicklaus reputation in one sentence. The bigger the moment, the steadier he got. Now, let's talk about what modern fans miss if they only look at highlight reels. Jack was a strategist. Hal Sutton explains how Jack played to his strengths, avoided unnecessary risks, and used clubs like the 3 wood to put the ball exactly where he wanted it.
Jack did so well as he played into his strengths and away from his weaknesses. Tiger did that as well, but Tiger was fearless. I'm not sure that he would lay up as much as Jack did. Jack was an unbelievable 3-wood player. 3-wood's not even in the game anymore, and I've done a little bit of designing, and I've worked with a couple of guys, and 3-wood's not in the game. They don't have shots where you use 3-woods anymore. And Jack used 3-woods all the time for a thing called position. Nobody thinks about position anymore much off the tee.
That's part of why Jack became the gold standard. He didn't just have talent. He knew exactly how to use it. And then there's the part of Jack's legacy that goes beyond competition. Ben Crenshaw talks about Jack as a sportsman, and he points to a moment of integrity that says a lot about who Jack was.
Later on, when Jack Nicklaus became captain, I played for him twice. I don't think there's any doubt in my mind that not only he played the game better than anybody else, but he was always a sportsman. And there's no other greater example of that than when Jack Nicklaus shook Tony Jacklin's hand. And I must say, there, a couple of guys on the United States team did not agree with him. But he knew it was the right thing to do because he kept the competition in mind.
That same leadership showed up when Jack became a captain. Listen to Craig Stadler describing him as an unbelievably dedicated Ryder Cup captain.
He was amazing, by the way, in 1983. He was out there, he had water, he had shirts because it was hot and humid as can be, and running around. I mean, you saw him, you played 18 holes, you saw him probably 12, 15 times. So he didn't stop. I mean, you wanted something to eat, you needed whatever, he would go get it for you. And just was so into it and involved in every meeting. And then we had just kind of the opposite a little bit in Trevino. He was in 85. He just kind of let the guys play and you make your pairings and just go play golf. But which I guess was fine. But Jack was just unbelievable when he captained that year. Unbelievable.
And that fits with everything else people say about him. Jack didn't just lend his name to things. He invested himself in them. Even after his best playing days were behind him, Jack's mind stayed deeply connected to the game. Ernie Els says he models his design philosophy after Jack, because Jack designs golf courses the same way he played: strategic, meticulous, thought out.
He very much, the way he played, that's how he approaches his design business. He's very meticulous. He's got a strategy that he follows. In his earlier designs, he really designed the courses the way he played. There's a lot of accuracy in his second shots. He had a lot of accuracy in mind. Fairways were pretty wide and greens were on angles. Most of them on left to right shots. And as you well know, Jack always played a high left to right shot. So. Love that, but his strategy is wonderful, and his routings really make sense. And I think that's how he really created a lasting impression.
That's the final layer of the Nicklaus story. Some players leave behind memories. Jack left a blueprint. So when players are asked about Jack Nicklaus, you hear the same themes again and again. The gold standard, the control under pressure, the smart decisions, the sportsmanship, the respect that lasts across generations. That's why his name still ends debates.